Hey guys, what's up? It's LeBas here. Today I am super excited because I'm going to be walking through this little tutorial with you guys on how to use pastels and also how to draw this fabulous little duckling. It's just so cute. I'm also going to be focusing on giving you tips for working with pastel because that's something that you guys have been saying you're interested in on my channel, and I'm finally getting around to doing it. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, feel free to do that right now, and let's get into this tutorial. Now let's get started. I'm using some Canson mixed media paper, and whatever you do, make sure that you have something soft, another piece of paper underneath when you're working with pastels. I'm starting off by just sketching in an oval shape. Now the way that I go about creating my outlines is what I like to call the guess method. I just start looking at my photo reference and mimicking the curves I see with my pencil. I'm not being concerned about getting everything perfect at this point. I'm really just sketching in some general forms that I see, and this helps me relax into the process. Right here is another little trick that I love to do. So I love studying my photo reference and creating diagonal lines as anchor points. So I'm connecting the placement of the eye to the end of the tail. If you look closely, you can see that I made my diagonal line too steep compared to the photo reference. But I ended up liking this because it gave my little duckling a stouter appearance and a more upright position. The reason why I wanted to point this out to you is because your drawing will not always look exactly like it looked in the photo reference, and that is completely okay. You can still make your drawing look great, and it's more important to keep going. Now, this is my favorite part of creating an outline sketch. I've already created the general idea of what I'm going for, and now it's time to work some magic with my magical little pencil eraser. I love to think of this step as if I'm sculpting out the forms that I want to see. Is this not the most adorable photo reference that you've ever seen? I absolutely fell in love with this image, and I decided that I wanted to use this as my photo reference guide for what I wanted the face to look like. And this is a tip that I wanted to share with you guys. Don't be afraid to work from multiple photo references. You just really have to be aware of how the angles of the pictures are going to be different, and just be aware of that while you're working. I'm also shortening the beak, which actually gives it a more cute and youthful appearance. Now, if your duckling's little body looks like it's getting a little bit too big, just make the head a little bit bigger. It can be a little bit challenging when you are drawing one of these little guys because they're little fluff balls and they kind of have an interesting little shape going on. My original photo reference was not the best photo reference for really understanding how the wing I wanted the wing to go. So I ended up just Googling some pictures and getting a general idea of the shape that I wanted, and I used the eye as an anchor point again. This is a funny part. I was gonna include some duck feet, and then I decided, nope. I think at this point I just got so excited that my outline was almost done, and I really just wanted to jump in and start putting on some color. Before I do that, I take my kneaded eraser, these things are so cool, and I just erase out my outline so I can barely see it, but at the same time it's not going to get in the way of my pastel. These pastel pencils are awesome. They are the General's brand, and they work excellent with the Prismacolor new pastel blocks. I'm using the block with the yellow-orange color for more of the details and outlines, and as for the lemon yellow pastel pencil, I'm using that for the majority of the body, more as a base color. And please do not press your pencils hard, you're just going to create so many problems. Just kind of think of this as your first light layer. Just be soft and gentle. Ooh, now this is another one of my favorite parts. We're gonna take our little Q-tip now that we've gotten our general colors in and just lightly moving the pastel dust into the paper. Now again, we're not being really aggressive with this. We're being very light, you know, just your little pixie fairy, and you're just putting a little pixie dust into the paper grain, and it's beautiful. For this stage, I really wanted to start creating an interesting scene for the duckling to be in, so I softly placed in some yellow greens in the background. Using loose circular motions, I created abstract circles to look like bokeh that you would see in a photograph. Now, taking that same Q-tip that I already had yellow pigment on, I just start to blend in that background. Now, don't be shy to throw in another color here and experiment. I added a darker green, and it really helps create just a lot more depth in my background. Yes, girl, now that I'm having some fun with this, got a little background in, I'm ready to start adding some more details. Right here, I'm just using some yellow ochre, which is amazing. Oh, this color is just wonderful. Using that for some of the subtle details in the feathers and the wings. And I'm also coming in with my brown and I'm just creating some dots. If you add some dots and dashes, it can really help bring out some details that can get lost when you're using pastels. After I do that, I just come back in with my little tortillon and merge those details in a circular motion. See how these details have become a little bit more muted? That is exactly what I was going for, because when I add the next layer with, dots of brown, it's going to look a lot more natural because we already have a brown undertone going on. Okay, here we go. Yes, the moment that I'm sure you have all been waiting for, it just screaming through the screen. Why have you not done the eye yet, girl? Well, here we go. What I did was I simply left a little white gap for the eye highlight, and I actually mixed in black and purple for the eye. And I blended it, and then I added another darker layer. Coming back with brown once again, I'm creating more detail with dots and dashes. I also snuck in some brighter oranges and red browns because I was inspired by some of the more muted colors of ducks that I saw on Google. If you want your duck to look more on the cutesy Eastery side, I would say skip this step of using the browns. I added white on top to tone down the browns, and I also added another layer of yellow. Now that we've got the details down on the duck, it's really time to use your imagination. While the technique of drawing is important, so is the power of storytelling with your work. I didn't know exactly the location that I wanted to create, but I had fun playing around with different ideas. Really do whatever your little heart desires wherever you want to put your little bird. I ended up going ahead and blending out with a cotton round, but honestly, the Q-tip probably would have worked better. Right here is where the magic really started to happen. A halo of white around my duck, and I also had a yellow glow going around it. Piece by piece, it really started to come together. Now that I had a few light layers already blended in, I'm getting closer to the point where the paper was going to get really saturated and it's not going to be able to take a lot of pastel. I press a little harder during the stage and use the side of my pastel sticks, but I'm still being very gentle. Every so often you're going to get a whole bunch of pastel dust and you just gotta go outside and blow it off. Trust me, I had to go outside a bazillion times to blow off the dust. It's just something you gotta do when you're working with pastels. This right here was one of the most exciting points within my drawing. I felt that the colors were really harmonious and started to really go together. This was the perfect point for me to start adding a little bit more detail and grass, and I just love this part so much. It's really where my picture started to come to life. The light background of brown that I blurred out also added to the ambiance. At this stage, I'm looking at the picture as a complete whole, and I'm trying to weave together colors that are in one area to other sections. To make some of the darker areas in the dirt pop, I added browns and blacks. To finish it off, I used some whites and yellow. When you get to this stage in your drawing, it's really important to just enjoy the process. Look at all that you've accomplished so far and really take it in. Just keep on working slowly till you get to a point where you're really happy with your overall picture. And there you go. Good job, guys. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up and I will be sure to make more like these in the future. It's adorable. So there you guys go. I really hope that you enjoyed this and you got a lot out of it. You learned some new moves of working with pastel, but definitely feel free to do whatever you please. If you want to decorate your duck in a different way, do that. If you want it to be on a freaking iceberg, you could do that too. And definitely send me pictures though, because I love seeing what you guys come up with. Thank you guys so much for all the support and appreciation. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, and I can't wait to see you in not tomorrow, oh my goodness. I wish I could post a video tomorrow. I'm little Santa's helper or something. I love you guys so much, take care, and I will be seeing you guys in my next video. Mwah.